Hey there, AfterBuzzers. You're watching the AfterBuzz TV After Show for The Catch, Season 1, Episode 8, The Package. We are so excited to talk about this week's episode with you guys, so stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Ooh, coming in hot. Coming in hot. A little Sunny J.
Ooh, the lights.
Disastro dance party up in here. I like it.
Sunny J.
You guys, we're here to talk about The Catch as usual, and we are super pumped to chat about this week's episode. It gets more and more intense, and we are getting close to the end of Season 1, and it is freaking good. I'm your host, Lauren Salaun, and you guys can find me all over the internet at Lauren Salaun. I'm joined this week by JB. How's it going, dude?
Hey, guys. You guys can find me at Hey John Blake on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat,
Awesome.
whatever you want to do.
We're anywhere on all the internets.
Whatever's
do it.
your jam.
Whatever you're most comfortable with, go there. Do it. Awesome. So before we dive into this week's episode, you guys out there in internet land, make sure that you are subscribed to us on YouTube at youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV so that you can tune in to all of our after shows live. And if you guys are in the chat right now, talk to us. There are 4 of y'all in there. We love that. 5. Oh, so exciting.
Nice.
So yeah,
Numbers are rolling in. I like it.
The people are coming. Oh, even more. It's still going. So anyway, talk to us as we talk to you about this week's episode. We want to know what you guys thought. And of course, throughout the week, be sure to tweet to us your thoughts about the episodes and the other shows and all sorts of stuff. We love talking to you guys.
Yeah,
online.
I was getting a lot of great theories from people, a lot of favorite characters.
Yeah, we'll share those.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. So, episode 8, and earlier in the season, so when the show first, obviously we're in season 1, so we're in the very beginning of things, we were told that we were going to have 13 episodes, I believe, but it has now officially, it's going to be quote unquote 10, but really episode 8 was tonight, and then we are getting a extra long finale episode next week, a double episode situation. So it's like 9.5.
Yeah.
Big 9.
I mean, I guess we get the full 10 hours of content, but yeah.
Yes, but not to be confused.
Truncated.
So we are at this is it, you guys.
Yeah, it snuck up on me.
It's gonna go down.
I can't believe it. I was like, whoa. I mean, it makes sense because we'll talk about it. They definitely whipped out some pretty big stuff at the end of this episode.
Yes.
A very large twist, if you will.
Exactly. So let's dive on in. So last week, our big twist was that Margo had snuck her way in there to be Alice's therapist,
right,
which is such a smart move. I know we were both like, oh.
Yeah, I love how they started and they gave a little bit of backstory about how she did that. You know, kind of pulled back the curtain a little bit just so it wasn't she just did that. You know? I really appreciate them it was quick. It was in a montage. They're like, oh yeah, she did some, internet stalking. To the extreme, obviously, she had hacking skills.
Yes.
Was able to kind of figure out where she was going, and then bribed / threatened to death the psychiatrist, which worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
So she got right in, and I guess she must have a recurring thing with her because
she's like, all right,
Alice has been a number of times. She's had multiple
I'm gonna
sessions.
have to use your office a lot, lady. So this deal,
it's gonna be more of a partnership.
She's got some good money to work with.
I mean, she gave her
$10,000.
plus she also brandished the gun in her face. So not a lot of choice. At least she is getting something.
I feel like 10,000 wouldn't be enough.
I mean, and living.
Right. I mean, the gun adds to it for sure. But 10,000, I feel like that's.
Well, I mean, for a psychiatrist, I think they make pretty good money, or they can. If they're good, they can charge pretty penny by the hour.
Anyway, so that was a really slick move, and Alice is in this safe place and stuff. So she's just opening up and telling Margo everything, and Margo, of course, is asking. Obviously, Alice is there about the relationship with Christopher / Ben, and so all Margo's questions, which, all her questions obviously are about Ben too, it makes sense. It doesn't seem weird that she's asking all these personal questions and oh, well, do you keep seeing him? Are you sleeping together? Just because that's exactly what Alice is in there for. So it's so seamless, and you can see Margo. I mean, you can see her in the way that she's acting during these scenes. just the little subtle nuances, like, you know, clenching the jaw, like,
yeah, I mean, the acting's
like
been great.
anything.
There's so many layers for that relationship. Obviously, you know, Margo knows a lot more than Alice's character in terms of how the conversation goes. You know, she's also in more of a position of power, being the psychiatrist, sort of. But it's interesting just because they are enemies, like, in the outside world, and they're also sort of like the old ex-girlfriend, I guess, if you can call it, like, versus like new ex-girlfriend. So it's very, I don't know, there's so many different layers of their opposition. So it makes for some pretty intense scenes.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I really like that. I mean, and I didn't think that Margo was going to lose her cool at any point during these sessions. You know, she's drawing out, you know, she knows to stick with the con and wait until the end game, and she's been very calculated, I think, the whole time that we've seen her. You know, she's not hot-headed like Rhys. You know,
she's
but
super meticulous, and even I like how they made a point about that. You know, having her explain her process and how it would be more effective not to just, you know, bust it wide open, but to use the situation to really flesh it out and see what she knows. You know, versus what Rhys's idea, like you said, which is kind of go balls to the wall and tell Ben and like expose everything, but then they wouldn't really learn anything.
Yeah, and she's so smart with doing that, not just getting her own information that she wants to get out of it about, like, you know, the heartbreak and her relationship and all this stuff, but then figuring out, okay, well, how can this be a threat to what we're doing?
Exactly.
You know, and my empire, all that. So props to Margo. Props to Margo about that, you know?
Yeah, no, is she not growing on you? Like,
She is. She is, for sure. I like her a lot.
Yeah, no, she's been awesome. Someone tweeted out there, I think it was it's at Chesel_Y. Chesley, I guess. I think he said that he loves Margo and that it's his favorite character. I'm on Team Margo now.
I don't think I'm on Team Margo, but I like her cunning.
Fair enough. Maybe
her
perhaps
calm, cunning intelligence. And
I got caught up in the moment.
No, maybe
I said too much. But yeah, I wouldn't say I'm Team Margo, but I'm liking her more and more.
Yes, I agree. And that's, I mean,
she's winning me over.
Exactly. And when you create good characters, even when they're kind of the bad guys, if you will, you know, when you can not necessarily identify with them, but you start to like things about them, like that's when it, you know, the show's doing a good job with its character development.
I think all across the board, the show has done a really good job of that, kind of making it really interesting and messy, like who to root for and who to really side behind. You know, we've had so many different teams, I guess you could call it, you know, with Alice and her crew and Ben and his crew, and sort of the rifts between them on each side. You know, it's funny because we kind of have two sides globally, but each of those sides have multiple
so much
sides.
Drama within it. You know, you've got the huge teams, and then within that, like, everyone's kind of doing something else and turning on somebody, or has a secret deal with so-and-so or whatnot. So it gets very, very confusing and kind of intertwined.
Yes, very intertwined.
So let's talk about the rest of the bigger crew of them. So Rhys, obviously, he's planning on staying. You know, he bought into the hotel chain, all this stuff, and they, you know, Rhys and Margo are at odds because she doesn't want to go back into the family business, wants to be staying solo and all that. And Rhys obviously is taking over, and he's trying to not pit Christopher against Margo, but trying to kind of claim Christopher.
Right, he's getting
for
him
himself.
to choose sides, and hopefully, and you know, nudging him towards his own side.
Right, exactly. And he goes to her, Christopher goes to her, to Margo, and pretty much tells her that he thinks they should go back with Rhys and what he's doing. And with her knowing what was going on, that was after the initial Alice meeting, like her stone cold
she
look
totally
at him.
Called him out.
Yeah, you're not getting rid of me that easily. Right.
I mean, I would not want to be in Ben's shoes at that moment. Like, he was just like, this is not good. I mean, she's beautiful eyes, and like having that stare of like, why would you do this? Like, what aren't you telling?
Well,
and just
she's
calling
got
him
that
out
like
was like
calm, dangerous thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know that he he knows everything that's going on, obviously, but
Yeah, I
or
don't
that
think so.
she
I mean,
knows everything.
With the way that she played it was sort of like that she called him out on what he was doing without exposing herself in terms of the surveillance that she's done on him.
Exactly.
Which I thought was such a cool way to play it.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
she's keeping
not her first rodeo at all.
No, she's keeping those cards close to the chest for sure. And so Christopher tells Reggie about it. He's pissed. They don't get along. And I loved, like, later in the episode when they're just the banter between Reese and Christopher and Reggie, how they're just all kind of picking on each other in different ways. And then, like, Reggie and Reese pick on Christopher a little bit. Like, I really like that dynamic a lot,
Yeah, no, it was
know?
such a good, right before they introduced the procedural element that we're going to be following, the Leah Wells, like, counterfeit thing. They had a great, like, little trifecta moment, like, all bashing on each other.
I know. I really like that. It was fun. So we've got Christopher teaming up with, it's like boys team situation.
Yes.
They're kind of leaving Margo to be pissed and stew and do her own thing and think about what she wants to do. And our bad guy squad, essentially. So their con this week is to steal the package, which happens to be...
The package, yes.
The package, which happens to be a major counterfeiter played by Nia Vardalos. So we finally got her in the episode
we've been waiting
this week.
for that cameo.
Yeah, and I like her character. We didn't get a ton of her, but she's testifying against her old boss. I guess she counterfeits money so well that it can go undetected. So they want to steal her and recruit her to work for them. Smart move.
Definitely a good friend to have.
Yes, but she's on trial, like she's gonna testify against her former boss, and so they have to basically snatch her out of like pre-court witness protection situation. And Christopher goes to talk to her, and he's like, "Okay, so I'm gonna get you out of her." And instead of her being like, "Oh yay, great, thanks," she's like, "Well, I'm just getting like moved to Idaho or something, right? So I'm gonna negotiate back." And her demands, she wants 50% of the take, 50% of whatever the con is, essentially. And then wants to, what was the second part? Jordan Hamlin, so her former boss, the man she's testifying against, dead, because she's like, if this guy's alive, he's gonna kill me at some point. Duh. So that's a smart move. And Paul McCartney,
Gotta watch it
which
back.
happens to, which is
Paul
her
McCartney.
dog. Yes, Sir Paul. Okay. And as things go on, Reese is pretty much, Margo tells Reese, like, "Oh, this is so simple. Get the damn dog. That's the most important thing. Like, this is a person and their pet. That's like their child. Get the dog. Hold on to the dog until she lets go of her other claims, and then just give her the dog and she'll be fine." That scene where Reggie is holding this ridiculous fluffy white dog with long hair, and they pass by her while she's like walking out of her hotel handcuffed, like with U.S. Marshals and everything. Dude, I love that moment. Like, she's like, "Sir Paul," and her face just lights up. She looks so happy and so excited, and then they just pass, and it's like, and Reggie's like, "Nah." Oh my goodness, I loved it.
Yeah,
no,
and what a funny dog to use. Like, the casting on that was tremendous.
Great dog casting, you guys.
I couldn't quite tell on our TV, but it looked like the dog had like highlights of pink, like in its hair.
No, that's
or
our
maybe
TV.
that's just.
I know.
That's disappointing. It would be a lot cooler if it was.
It would have been. I think that's
but
just
the
our
flowy
TV.
hair was definitely pretty epic.
Oh, I loved it. It was so funny, that little dog situation. So
yeah, props to her character though for recognizes the situation when Ben first came in, and she's like, "Yeah, you know what? Like, I see what you're doing.
She's savvy.
I can totally turn this around." And she did. Like, she definitely called them out and got a better deal. I mean, it obviously wasn't the deal she wanted.
No, but she got her dog.
She got something.
Yeah,
she definitely got more than she would have.
Exactly.
Had she not,
exactly.
Seen that.
So I love that dog moment, and so we come to kind of the like big trade or the big exchange. She has to put in for a hotel transfer because she's like, and claiming like it's full of criminals. I'm scared or something.
Not wrong.
Yeah, no, this is true. And so Christopher and Reese show up to the door, and they show up to the door, and like the door's open. There aren't guards out there. The two guys that are supposed to be the guards are, you know, on the floor in the hotel room. She's not anywhere to be found. And so this is all happening. You know, we're wondering, okay, how did she sneak out? Like somebody beat them to the con, which this has happened a few times before where, you know, where our con artists get conned by other con artists, which is kind of fun, you know, when they one up each other at their own game. And it turns out that Margo is the one who's behind all this.
I know.
Which I kind of like.
I like that too. I mean, I didn't even think about it because it kind of happened so fast. Yeah. It definitely makes sense, but it was still a nice little surprise. Like, oh, she's not just, you know, chilling in a bathrobe. She
is scheming a ton herself.
Yeah. I mean, this whole show definitely, like, takes themes that they play with and flips them around. Like last week we had Rhys kind of pulling that scam, or maybe it was been 2 weeks ago with the poker table, and kind of like playing it on the whole crew. Like, you know, you think I'm doing
Trust
nothing,
nobody.
but yeah,
even
exactly.
your own team is pretty much the thing.
And this episode, you know, Margo basically pulls a similar prank, and you know, definitely wins one over on the guys.
I know, pretty smart on. Oh my gosh, Rhys. Which I'm not surprised by, but it was so funny. He's like, I'm going to tell Mom, because you didn't just steal my money, you stole Mummy's money, and I'm going to tell. I love it. But then what's their mom going to do? Because at this point, Margo's kind of like middle fingered their family by going off on her own and not wanting to come back to the team. So
well, no, I mean,
we'll see what Mom says.
It can't be too. I don't think she would kill her own daughter.
No, of course not.
But the look that was on Margo's face when she like heard that, she was like, "Ooh,
we're not just
we're
not just playing con artist company. You know, Mom's involved now. This is real life.
Yeah,
you know?
Rhys pulled out the big guns, Mommy.
Yeah, I'm telling Mom. I did during that whole exchange. So you know, the guards are drugged. She's gone. And Dow and Alice are coming.
Yeah, that was a super intense scene. Like I did not know what was going to happen. I thought they were going to like, jump out the window and like scale down.
We've seen Rhys obviously very easily kill off characters,
which
before.
He did.
Yeah, and so it's not. I wouldn't have been surprised if there had been a face-to-face kind of situation, and Christopher would have had to step in some way or done
or if
something
they like had to shoot their way out or something.
Alice. Yeah. So, you know, Dow and Alice are at the door, and Rhys is getting his gun ready, and it's pretty much like they're going to open this door and shoot the poor like bellman, and Dow is going to die. And I had a strange feeling during the whole episode that Dow's death is
looming
for some reason. So
his
I was
days
like, oh
could
no,
be numbered.
Here it is.
Although, again, he's another character that's finally growing on me.
Right?
Like,
Same.
He was definitely on the no-good list for a while. But, I mean, he's definitely...
I agree.
His game with Valerie is definitely improving. So.
No, I completely agree with you. I like him so much more. Smooth Dow is cool. I think Smooth Dow
the bar was
cool.
pretty low before, but I mean, he's definitely he's coming out with some singers.
Awkward Dow. Yeah. So anyway, we'll wrap up that little moment. You know, Reggie comes in, acts as fire marshal, U.S. Marshal, and is like, "Oh, this way, like it's fine.
Right.
My superior wants to talk to you," and then just like does like a spin move at the corner or whatever, and like pieces out real quick, which was just slick on his
smoke bombs
which is slick on his part. But yeah, let's talk about our Dow situation. He and Val, so much flirting.
Yeah.
Right?
I love that first scene was awesome. Like when he came into her office and was talking to Val, and then Alice sort of like hears some intimate details and catches Val in that moment. It's pretty awesome.
I like it all. And I like how Alice is like, go Val. I'm all for it, you know? It's kind of cute. And Val seems to be warming up to the idea for sure. But yeah, I think Smooth Dow is like, I like him so much more than awkward Agent Dow.
I do too. I mean, I think that I like the dynamic too, where he's like trying to win her over. She's like resisting, but you know, like still I can't help but smile. Like,
and I feel like it's making him better at his job.
I think so too.
right?
Just overall, just best
Dow's
life move
improving
for
as a
Dow.
person, I think.
Pretty sure that's the case.
So yeah, and actually, let's the folks in the chat. We're getting some chatting going on.
Nice.
So P. Hallowell saying a few facts about how many episodes we got in Grey's Anatomy, Scandal, How to Get Away with Murder, that sort of thing. So hopefully we will get a good chunk of episodes for season 2. I hope so too.
I hope so.
Watcher Carter, dogs are it. About the dogs, we agree. P. Hallowell is asking, do we see The Catch becoming ABC's modern day version of Fantasy Island or The Love Boat and Hotel with its guest stars in season 2?
Interesting.
Yes,
I
I've never would have
cool.
thought of that.
They definitely established this base camp at the hotel, which obviously makes it production easier because they don't have to use as many locations.
Move. And I know because we're watching it and I'm like, wait, they've already used this set before. And I'm like, oh, duh.
Familiar.
He bought the hotel, and that's why we're always going to be at this same damn hotel every time.
But I like that. I mean, they can definitely
smart.
use it a lot of different ways and pull off a lot of different hotel cons.
Yes.
I think that would be a cool angle for a future season.
Right.
Although the twist at the end of this episode, I don't know if that's going to be possible. If Ben is fully going onto Team Alice. We'll see. I mean, he's a con man at heart, so
I know.
Can't really trust it.
Oh, Kim Ellis. Who's our favorite characters right now?
Well, I mean, we talked about who's been growing on us. I mean, Margo definitely has stepped up a lot.
Yeah.
I think Reese still, just because he's just awesome. He
Loose
is
cannon.
who he is. He doesn't play any games about pretending who'd be he's just secure with the horrible person that he is.
Yeah.
I love that.
I like him a lot. I like that a lot. Gosh, I don't know. I mean, by default, I feel like I'm just going to say Alice, but that seems so boring because she is obviously the protagonist. So you're supposed to like her a lot. So I do like her. I also just love Mireille Enos. I love the actress who plays her. I think she's incredible. Right. But let's see. I really do like Reese. I like him a lot.
He's pretty awesome.
He's pretty cool. I'm more feeling the characters that I didn't like Dow and Margo, and now that we are kind of starting to like them, I'm excited about that for sure. So yeah. But anyway, let's talk.
Reggie's cool too.
I like Reggie a lot.
Fan.
I like Reggie a lot.
He came in to save the day. This episode.
Yeah, he was slick, and he's always funny and stuff. He's cool.
Yeah, I'd love to see a Reese and Reg con because they don't like each other. Just
there would be
seeing
so much bickering,
the banter.
but I bet it would be so cool.
It'd be the best.
They'd have cool
I hope
stunts and tricks and stuff.
They would. I think they would pull it off very well.
Oh, I would like that too. So the case that our office. Let's talk about Alice's team and the thing that they're working with.
The sex tape.
Yes. So we've got a musician that Sophie knows because apparently Sophie used to be quite the singer and
ukulele player.
Right. They used to be in a band together, her and Kels. And so Sophie's friend is in a recording contract. She's got all these record deals, and she also lives/works at this other recording studio where she can collaborate with other artists, sort of thing. This guy Nathan owns and runs that. And he's claiming that, so the album that they're working on is supposedly done, but her record label won't release it for some reason. They're holding it hostage, which sometimes happens with big record labels.
It's all about timing.
Exactly. And they're saying it's because it's not done, but she's like, oh no, it's totally done. What's going on? Long story short, it ends up that Nathan is planning to release a sex tape because apparently it's a real world type situation. They're all living in this house and he's recording their bedrooms and stuff and people having sex, and decides to release a sex tape of this girl and then also simultaneously release her album. Saying simultaneously release and talking about sex tapes a lot.
Buzzing.
Yeah. So to do that, because this is such a stupid but a tactic that has worked for people the Kardashians.
Very cold-blooded, but opportunistic. Yes. And he did like the guy Nathan did that with obviously the sex tape, but even him getting his ass beat by Alice, he was like, "Yep," like he's very
he's like, "It's okay, no, like no press is bad press."
I guess you could call it to a fault, but fault. He's definitely not wrong. I mean, the numbers. Look at the numbers, people.
The numbers, and the album did go to like #1 or something, and let's be real. I mean, this sort of thing has worked for people in the past. Like, no joke. Yeah, no,
like you said,
I'm sorry, but the Kardashians would not be where they
not
were
at all.
today.
I mean, that's
if
the
Kim,
whole reason.
Who was nobody, didn't release a sex tape way back when with Ray J, who still makes so much damn money off that thing. I'm so, like, come on. Yeah, but good Lord. Yeah.
Well,
so,
I mean,
hey, it worked. They turned that sex tape
like $1 billion
into a lot of
empire.
money. Yeah.
Insane, yeah. I mean, obviously, there's other pieces at play, but that was a big one that kind of put them on the map.
Oh yeah,
and
for sure.
Again, it's sort of all a timing game. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, and so that's what Nathan was trying Nathan was trying to be a little Kris Jenner, I guess, and do that, and it worked. And it was interesting. I really like actually how Alice and Val handled the situation kind of at the end there, because we've got Kels in there. So, and they ended up, being able to kind of throw child porn and like those types of charges at Nathan, which obviously that type of press, real bad press.
Yeah.
And
not good.
Yeah. But anyway, so they've got, this is out there, and Kels is talking to them, and she's like, he was right. Like, people know who I am. People are buying my album and liking my music. So it's working, and it sucks that that's what it took to get this to happen and to make it work. But like, I also don't hate that it catapulted my career, even though this is not the route I would have chosen. And she's like, what do you think I should do? And I like how Alice and Val were like, you do whatever you want, but it's about you being in control of the situation and doing, like, I liked that.
Yeah, message. No, I agree. I think it was an important message. Obviously, in this day and age of social media, there's a lot of, there can be a lot of pressure for people to do something like that, to get exposure and to make a splash, and I think they handled it very well. Like, without denouncing it and saying it's like the worst thing ever, like, you're gonna go like to hell.
Yeah. Like, you shouldn't be happy about this. Like,
it's definitely. I think they were not condoning it as like a way to success. Like, you shouldn't want to do this, but given the fact that it happened, it's like, what, you can just do you. Like, you don't have to be ashamed of.
Yeah, because it's not. I mean, it wasn't, even though she didn't want that to happen, if she had any control over it, she would not have let it go out. And it's not like she was, she was like dating this guy, and
Exactly. And the fact that it was something that was exposed, it's like, what, why not get the most out of it? Like, yes, it was unfortunate that it happened. You wouldn't have made that decision
now
to
that
release
everyone's seen, let's get a paycheck off this.
Right. Well, I mean, it's like, what else can you do when life give you lemons? Like,
Beyonce.
Make some lemonade. Boom. Yeah, exactly. Or just Beyonce.
All right, so that's our case with that. And I love at the end how she sent Danny, because like there's a whole time Danny is like, wait, you were in a band? Wait, what? Send me a link. Like, what is all this? All this stuff is so cute, because obviously he still has such a little crush on Sophie. And Kel sends a video of Sophie playing ukulele and playing a version of Blue Moon, which was great. And his face, oh my gosh, did you notice that? He's like
he's back on team.
Such a fat crush on her. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she's growing on me a little bit as well. I mean, in the beginning of the season, I wasn't sure like how she was going to contribute. But yeah, she's definitely like held her own.
I like her. She's very versatile and has like so many talents.
Plus beautiful voice. And you were saying that's her actually
that's her singing.
Wow, crazy.
I know.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Is she actually playing the ukulele?
I don't know, but the music stuff that I looked up, it said featuring, whatever, featuring, I'm forgetting her name because it's really unique and I don't want to mess
That's super cool though. I mean, I love when shows really utilize like the actors' expertise and skill set, like, that is totally bottom of the resume type of thing, but they were able to use it in like a meaningful way.
Right.
And they kind of like tease us with it a few times and used existing relationships to really push it forward. I thought it was great.
I did too. So,
and again, beautiful voice.
We haven't heard of Sophie's boyfriend. What was his name again? I totally forget. I totally forget. So I feel like that's kind of like not a thing anymore.
Yeah, with the big dude.
Yeah.
Probably
Mr.
not.
Agent guy.
I mean, it's clearly not exclusive.
Yeah.
Or not like serious, super serious.
Yeah, exactly. So
maybe they're still texting though.
We shall see. So let's talk Alice and Christopher situation a little bit. So she pretty much tells him that he can't keep dropping in, like she needs to set up some boundaries. And obviously, like when we hear her talking to Margo, she's like, there's so, we get real deep in those sessions. And she's like, I need to, I'm doing this because I got to make like, I'm still seeing him because I want to make sure that he's the man that I fell for, so that like, that I didn't waste a year of my life on this complete liar who didn't love me, all this stuff. And she spies on him meeting with Reese and all this. So she's like, playing both sides a little bit too, just making sure she's covering her bases. And like our kind of final situation there with her walking into her house, and she's pretty shaken up because the two federal agents who, were killed during the like, not hostage, during the counterfeiter transfer, she's like, this is real. Like you don't take this seriously about like people's lives and all this stuff going on. And she opens the door and he's there.
I know, he's turned
with
himself
Dow.
in.
Yeah. Turned himself in.
I did not expect.
I didn't either. And at first I was like, wait, has he been working with Dow this whole time? Or like, what the heck is going on? Which I'm assuming, obviously, no. He, is turning himself in and willing to help. Because we do see Reese also pull that on him, turn that around on him and being like, like, you better stay loyal to me, Christopher, or that like redhead that you love, like she's gonna be in danger, sort of thing. And like Christopher's face is like, oh shoot, you know about that, pretty much.
Yeah, it was interesting. It tells me that Ben's been a little cavalier with his dealings, especially with Alice. Maybe he was blinded by love, whatever you want to call it.
He was. They both were.
Yeah, exactly. But now that I think the cat's out of the bag, he knows that Alice has been threatened. He's going to be a lot more careful. By going to Dow, obviously that's a hugely risky move. And, staging this like sort of intervention, waiting for Alice to come home is, very risky too. And I think that he wouldn't be doing that stuff had he not the like explicit knowledge that they wouldn't find out, that Reese and Margo wouldn't find out.
Yeah, exactly. So Christopher has kind of put himself in hot water with this situation, but I think that's such a big move for how much Alice means to him, but obviously it puts her like at complete risk,
Right.
So,
well, she was, especially in the therapy scenes, she was ping-ponging back and forth, like, am I going to turn him in? Am I going to get them all? Am I going to just going to go after his crew?
Yeah, and Margo's like, well, why would you go after them? And she's like, well, because they're the ones that made him do this. Like, they're the bad. I don't know, really, but,
Yeah.
She's...
And what he's been telling her, that, like, he got in at a young age with these bad people, and now that he's in deep, like, they kind of own him, and they're, it's sort of, he can't get out, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like we're at a good moment to kind of move into some predictions about things or hopes and dreams.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV.
All right. Okay, so I already said this, and I don't know how I completely feel about it, but I have a feeling Dow might die. I'm just going to put it out there.
Yeah.
So next week's kind of teaser that we get is we see Ben saying, hi, Mom, which I'm assuming is obviously Reese and Margo's mom.
Right.
Because if Ben was telling the truth to Alice, his parents died. And Reese being like, oh, I'm going to tell Mom on you. And, I think she probably comes into town to straighten shit out, and so kids. I think Reggie calls Christopher a snitch. So Christopher's probably confiding in Reggie about talking to the FBI or working with Alice in some capacity. And we already know that he is pretty open with Reggie about everything, And I tried.
They had a great bro moment in the car.
I know, they really did. And I feel like Reggie's gonna like stick with Christopher. You know, like
yeah, I mean, in terms of, I don't think that it's gonna be Ben and Alice against the world.
Yeah.
You know, even though they sort of set it up that way, at least for like a season 2, I don't know if that would be as interesting as the old crew, kind of like a different dynamic of the old crew, like and that's why I agree with you. I think that Dow is gonna die because he's sort of the main link, like holding Ben to Alice in this whole like new, like let's turn a new leaf thing. In terms like as far as the legitimacy of it goes,
right?
He's obviously gonna have a thing with Alice directly, but I think that I don't know if he can get out as easily. And even if he chooses Alice, it's not gonna like erase all the crimes he did.
No, and it's not like, oh, we'll be happy and together again. Like
exactly.
Yeah.
Just Dow, just don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Water under the bridge.
No big deal.
Maybe?
We're good. So yeah,
We're cool.
I think Dow's gonna maybe die.
Yeah.
I think that we might get a Danny Sophie like kiss moment.
Ooh, okay.
But it'll be like a shocker, and then they won't really talk about it, and nothing is going to happen after.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it'll be like,
once he heard that song,
yeah,
like,
he was done
hooked.
for. Yeah, done for. He already had a crush, but then it was like, oh wait, big crush. So I think we'll get like a surprise kiss, and they'll both be like, oh my gosh, I have a crush on you. Oh my gosh, me too. Let's be awkward and continue to have tension at work all the time. I think that's like the direction
That's probably
it's
the
gonna
best
go.
plan.
Yeah.
Just.
I don't think that Alice is going to get shot by Margo or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, the only main character that I can see really biting the dust is Dow at this moment. I mean, maybe Reese, just because he plays very fast and loose.
Yeah.
But other than that, you know, I love all the characters. I really want to see them all back, you know, beyond the finale. So it's going to be interesting. It's 2 hours. It's going to be a roller coaster for sure.
Yeah, 2-hour finale next week. So some of our peeps in the chat.
Ooh,
so
yeah, any other predictions?
P. Hallowell says she'd like to see the princess buy Vaughn and go out to buy Vaughn Anderson. Oh, and go on missions with the team. Whoa, and have Christopher join the team. So the princess buy the firm and then be part of it.
Princess
like as
Sarah?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Interesting. Who do we think would play Reese and Margot's mom? I think the woman we saw in the teaser, and I don't know who she is.
Ooh, I did not get a look.
So her, I think.
No, I really want to see the family dynamic.
Oh, the
play
actress
out.
from Downton Abbey. Yes, I don't watch Downton Abbey. Sorry, but yeah. So that's.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up so that we can see it. But yeah, I love these ideas, you guys.
But yeah, I mean, it really opens it up, especially for, you know, a possible season 2, like having the whole weight of the syndicate sort of either after them or something. You know, it really makes it kind of explode in terms of the stakes.
Exactly. Okay, so the mother, I believe, is Leslie Nichol, who plays on Downton Abbey. Yes, that is correct, P. Hallowell.
Nice,
And I
it.
believe we read about that a few weeks ago.
Right.
That she was going to be one of the guests. So I think that's the mom. But all in all, pretty exciting episode, and I think we're
Well, I mean,
ready
like
for
we've
a
said this, I think every
sweet
time.
finale. Yeah,
like,
it's getting better.
Each episode has
They
really
picked up
gotten
momentum.
better.
I know we've had some shifts on the, you know, the showrunner side of things,
which is always hard when like you have to switch gears on the whole like production team. You know, you're gonna have some issues to work out, and I think they did a really good job. The show that they completely had to salvage and really it's showing by having more time to work on it. Like each episode is getting better.
Yeah. Because we know
super exciting.
they're a team that's put out a lot of really excellent TV shows.
Yeah,
so.
Shondaland.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's pretty good. And we do have a little exciting news that the show was renewed for season 2. You
Really?
guys, yeah.
Oh,
so
no way.
officially renewed for season 2. So pretty exciting, and all that hard work, like we just said, paid off because they've still got jobs. So pretty cool. And yeah, so we
then
shall
hopefully
see.
we will see the Syndicate in next season. I mean, we'll save those predictions for next week.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay,
that's good news, though.
So super exciting, good news, good episode as usual. You guys, we will be back here, same place, same time. Thank you, all of you, for tuning in live with us and chatting. We love talking to y'all and you guys watching us live and interacting, all that stuff. As usual, you guys can find me everywhere online, especially Instagram and Snapchat at Lauren Salaun. That's LAUREN SALAUN. And how about you, JB?
Nice. You guys can find me, JB, at Hey John Blake on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all the interwebs.
Awesome. All right, guys, we will see you next week for our 2-hour finale.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.